How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here and welcome to today's update news video where we look at the quite possibly the most derpy update that's going to be coming into the game, or as you're watching this, it's probably already in the game and you're going to have to download it. And of course, this is the new STURMTIGER line coming into the game, which has that 300mm plus main armament, which allows you to derp opponents for up to 1700 alpha damage that can obviously high roll to over 2,000 damage with this tank right here. Yes, it looks absolutely ridiculous. Yes, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous within the game, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. But this is not the only update that is coming to the game. Not only is the 38cm main armament weapon that this tank has, the biggest tank gun in the game, the biggest derp, whatever you want to call it, we also have massive buffs coming to the E50M line, which is of course a line that's kind of been forgotten within World of Tanks console and Modern Armour in the last few years, and that certainly is not going to be the case anymore. No longer will you just be auto-aiming E50Ms in the frontal turret. Now you actually have to aim and you have to actually use your armour to the best of your ability, which is not going to be the most difficult thing within the game. So the E50M, what comes with this tank? Well, essentially it's a boxy Panther 2, if that makes sense. It's got that same sort of styling that a lot of the Panthers had in World War II, and so you're going to actually see that it's more bulky, it's got more armour, it's faster, and you're basically a walking, talking ram, basically. So essentially you can use the E50M like a giant ram, which is of course one of the more derpy tanks within the game. Combine that with the fact you're getting this bit bad boy, yeah, certainly the German line is going to be rolling around having some fun. But what else comes with this update? Well, you do get a buff to the tier 9 E50, which is definitely needed. They've essentially removed the terrible gun off the E50 where you have like 150 damage at tier 9, because that's just actually ridiculous that it was even in the game at tier 9. The fact you had to grind through that gun, the 7.5cm. Yeah, I'm so glad that that's been removed. Now you'll start off with the 8.8cm with a 6.6 second reload, so you've got better DPM. You've also got the 8.8 that is the upgraded version, which has had the reload increased from 6.9 to 7.7. That's because it's got its alpha damage increased by 40 base, which means that the average DPM of the tank has also increased, and it means you won't have to poke out as much to be able to deal that 280 damage as opposed to the 240, because yeah, you can deal more damage per shot, so you're going to be better at trading on corners. And considering the frontal turret armor, or the frontal armor even, has gone up by 65mm on the E50, making it very comparable to the E50M. It's going to make it a very, very interesting tank to now come up against. Yes, of course, the lower plate of the E50 is kind of the big weak point of the tank, this giant weak point right here, and of course the turret cheeks of the E50 aren't particularly amazing, but yeah, you would definitely be bouncing more off the frontal armor of the tank. You also have the turret, the stock turret, which you can see, I don't know if it's here, but essentially this turret with 120mm of armor on the front will now be upgraded to the 185mm turret that you get as with the next bundle that allows you to get that next turret. And so yeah, you'll just have a better turret essentially. And also, not only that, the frontal turret armor, or the frontal armor, will be getting increased from 185mm up to 200. So yeah, you'll basically get a much better turret. And they've also removed the 7.5cm from the second turret. And yeah, now that I look back at it, the frontal armor of the first turret has gone up by 65, making it the same as the initial turret. So basically replaced it with the same one. And then the upgraded turret has even better turret armor. So yeah, you're going to be dealing a hell of a lot more damage with the DPM buffs that you get with the second turret, and also the sheer turret armor that you're going to be having with this tank makes it a hell of a lot more easy to play. However, you do have that big weak point, and although I did say that the frontal armor is getting buffed, it's not actually, it's just the turret armor. That was my mistake, but there we go. The E50M, definitely a tank that I'm going to be looking towards getting. I am at the Panther 2 currently, just got to grind out that silver on the Cold War mode to be able to get that tank within the game. So, German tier 8, Panther 2 getting a massive buff as well, so we're having the same sort of thing whereby the turrets are getting buffed. I think that it's definitely a decent upgrade, I guess, especially with the DPM mainly. Just increasing the DPM of the whole line is going to be so much nicer to be able to play. You'll see that the stock gun has been removed, the 7.5cm, the L70 has been removed, and also the 10.5cm from the first turret has also been removed, as well as the second turret. So you can no longer use those guns, you've just got the 7.5cm and then the 8.8cm on the top package when you get the second turret. So all of the guns basically had a DPM buff, whether that means that they've actually received a worse reload doesn't necessarily mean very much. So yes, it's increased reload, but you've gained the extra 15 alpha damage on the stock gun. So no longer will you be doing 135, it's 150. And so you've got much more comparable DPM to the tier 8 mediums that are in the game already. Then when you look at the second turret, well, there has been no increase to the turret armor, but you have seen a lot of the buffs to the DPM as with the previous that you've seen. And also the 8.8cm has got increases to accuracy and aim time, which means that, yeah, you'll be able to hit on the move and hit more consistently with this tank, dependent on whether or not you decide to actually put your money and your time into actually grinding through this line, which I would recommend because the E50M is just that derpy tank that you definitely want to be picking up. So the 8.8cm also gets DPM buff, so yeah, you'll get the extra 40 damage as with the E50. So that's the tier 9. You'll have the same gun essentially, just a tier lower, and 2100 DPM. So that's going to be very, very nice. You'll definitely want to be running the 8.8. Then with the Panther, we'll just go into this quickly, basically increase to or decrease to your reload, which means you can deal more DPM. You got better accuracy with the derp gun on the Panther. You've also got more DPM with all guns, and yeah, the turret traverse speed is also increased, so it means you can turn your turret faster. Not a massive upgrade, but there we go, definitely an increase to the game to be able to deal with that damage quickly. Then with the premiums, the Revenant Craft Panther, pretty much the exact same story, better damage, better DPM, better accuracy, better aim time, and the same with the Panzer 5 KPFW3 Alfs K. I don't know that I've ever played it, but you're essentially just getting better hull armor and better accuracy with the tank. Of course, with every single on-track event, you get 50% silver discount and 30% silver discount, depending on which tier you're going to. Tier 3 to 6 get 50%, tier 7 to tier 10 you get 30%. So now is a great time to buy back some of the tanks if you actually enjoyed playing them, or you want to try them out with the new upgraded stats when you hop onto World of Tanks today with this new update. Anyway, moving on, what else can you get within this new update other than the standard E50M buffs and stuff like that? Well, you get 2 new skins for Cold War tanks. Now, yes, before you leave, because you don't play Cold War, you know, this is just an extra, and essentially, if you play the game, you'll want to be able to get it. All you have to do is just place as a top XP earner on your team, or basically within the top 7, you'll get 1 point minimum, up to 3 points if you come top. And then all you have to do is earn 125, 155. You need 170 points, which is what, 60 wins or 60 times where you come as a top XP earner. So you've got a week to be able to do that, I believe. Yes, indeed, 1 week to be able to complete this. If you manage to do that, then hats off to you. I probably won't be able to do it, but you will get the skins, and you can see those on screen right here. This is the M1A1 Abrams with the Alpine Tundra skin, which looks, to be honest, quite nice, and it will give you the camouflage benefits without having to actually pay any silver or gold if you actually spend gold on camo. And then, of course, the T72B with the skin 4, which looks fairly nice. I think that that's probably the better of the two, but then again, it's probably just because the T72B is that overpowered tank within Cold War. But there you go. Those are the skins. Probably just Wargaming's attempt to try and get you to play Cold War because, yeah, it's definitely quite tedious at the minute trying to get into games on Cold War, but there we go. Anyway, moving back to, of course, our favourites, the STURMTIGER. When you jump into the game, you definitely want to be getting to the higher tiers as quickly as possible because the low tiers are going to be very, very tough. The Stoig 33B, we will be testing them out as I get through them. We'll put in some time, put a shift in to be able to get all of these as quickly as possible to review them for you guys. And yeah, I'll use probably some of my free XP to do that, but we'll test them out, see how well they actually fare within the game, and then show you how you can play them, especially with that just ridiculous alpha at each tier and the ridiculous size gun that all of them get. But there you go. All of the derpy updates for World of Tanks console, modern armor, and hopefully that's all condensed into a fairly short update news video. We will be doing a big one tomorrow, so that's Wednesday, which will cover all of the new information, all of the new update. We're going to test out some of the tanks. I'm going to show them all for you, so hopefully you'll stick around. Of course, subscribe, and if you want to check out the actual review of all of these tanks, all in one video, it will be linked on screen, as well as some gameplay on how to get better at World of Tanks console if you want to check those out. Hope to see you in some of those videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.